And we're back. Episode 4.
Number 4.
This is the Nerd Eye Council coming at you. It's Friday. It's time. So, we were a little bit at a loss of what we're going to talk about this week, like we usually are. And then I got this really interesting magazine in the mail. I'm a subscriber to Entertainment Weekly. And on the cover, they have the 50 most powerful superheroes. Doctor Strange rocking it on the cover. But let me tell you, we all agreed this list was shit.
Hot garbage.
What a mess.
Stinky bullshit.
Entertainment Weekly is not a bad read, but you guys are idiots.
Fucking moron. Parents are brothers and sisters.
If you didn't catch that, we don't agree.
We don't agree.
So we kind of took it upon ourselves to do top 10, because who has time to sit down and write 50 superheroes out on a list? But if I had time, I would have attempted it. So we're going to throw at you our top 10 and tell you why theirs is such shit. And then we'll go on to other subjects from there. So, Entertainment Weekly's top 50, we're going to do top 10. So first of all, let me just say, I'll explain that, as I didn't really tell Ralph, Nate and I were talking about it a little bit, the way they ranked. So it was very misleading, I thought, that it's titled the 50 most powerful superheroes, but their way that they ranked the superheroes, they have 10 categories. 8 of them are worth 10 points, and they go in this order. Bankability, which apparently... How much money can you make off of these jerks?
Is that what it's really?
Yeah, number 1 is bankability, 10 points. Design, 10 points, which I think is important too, I guess.
Yeah.
Modern relevance, which was a little confusing, and I'll get to that. Mythology is important to a certain degree. Nemesis. Originality, which is definitely important. Personality, I guess there's some relevance to that. And powers, which is really what the list should be primarily about, since it's the 50 most powerful superheroes. And then they threw in the 20, the double is cultural impact. So, my list, I'll wait, actually. I'm going to let Ralph throw his list out there.
Now, does this have to be, like, most powerful?
Or should we do their top 10 first, probably?
Well, whatever you want to do.
All right, we're going to do their...
We'll do theirs, and then we can go back.
So we'll go 10 down to 1.
All right.
And number 10, according to Entertainment Weekly, was The Flash, which he's definitely a top 10 superhero as far as powers in my book, but it gets crazier, folks. Number 9, Black Panther. Now, we can interject, guys, like if you have a thought as we're going through the list here.
As a side note, I know we're doing the top 10, but just as a little side note, number 11 was Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
All right.
What the?
What is she? Is she DC?
Yeah, Ralph
Marvel?
says, we're discussing this at work, and Ralph says, who the hell's Buffy?
I was like, Buffy?
She did start out in comics.
Yeah.
She was a comic
before the TV show.
But the TV show kind of ruined it.
But she's not DC or Marvel. This list is not just DC Marvel. And there's a few exceptions they threw in.
Yes, there are a few exceptions.
I think she was Dark Horse.
Dark Horse, I think that sounds
like
correct, actually.
The Watchmen
was Dark Horse,
yeah.
and then DC
DC bought them. That's right.
Matter of fact, I could be wrong, but I think DC owns Dark Horse now. I think, but I could be wrong. Like it's a brand.
Why not? Disney owns every fucking thing.
Right, but but even a greater travesty is that you had Buffy at 11, but then number 12 behind her is fucking Deadpool.
Oh god.
I mean, I don't know about everybody else here, but Deadpool can wipe the floor with Buffy.
Right.
Right. Deadpool don't care. Man, woman, alien, don't matter. You slap the shit out of them.
I mean, Deadpool is almost immortal.
Yeah. And then put. See, I don't know.
You know what though? I mean, I gotta admit, I've seen a few episodes of Buffy back in the day, but I don't know much about Buffy. She's not. I don't think she's an immortal.
No, I don't think she is.
I don't know nothing about her.
She was trained to hunt vampires, but that's about it. I don't think there's anything mystical about her,
Right.
or any sort of mysticism or anything. She just.
But yeah, Deadpool at 12. I think Deadpool would have a lot to say about that.
I think he would have a lot to say about that.
Yeah.
So like I said, moving on, number 9 was Black Panther, and I thought, although I think the first iteration that we've gotten to see of Black Panther in Civil War was good.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the character. I'm somewhat psyched about the movie that's coming.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what they do with the movie.
Right, I will. I'm interested in it too. I mean, they have piqued my interest with the character. But number 9, are you fucking kidding me?
I don't know.
I mean, cultural relevance is worth 20.
If he
He's
wasn't
had one movie. He's not even. It's not even his movie.
That's why, because I think if he wasn't in the Civil War, he
agree.
wouldn't be on
I
top
agree.
10.
I agree.
And I think he's just a fan favorite now for the little kids and shit. But I don't think he would have been top 10 if he wasn't in Civil War. My opinion.
No, I had that same thought. Okay, number 8 is the Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, which definitely top 10.
Definitely.
I think.
Yeah, definitely top 10.
Which I threw my list together today, and I'm like going through my head and characters that superheroes that I left out of my list. They keep popping into my head. But I definitely think Hulk qualifies for top 10. Number 7, Captain America. How do you fellas feel about that?
Captain America should be top 5.
He's very likable.
Right.
He's one of Marvel's, always been one of Marvel's top characters.
Yeah.
But even, I think, more so now. I mean, for God's sakes, the man has a statue, and they actually have a little picture of the statue in the Entertainment Weekly. But
Right.
there's an actual, if you cats don't know this, there's an actual Captain America statue that they just erected in.
Yep, they unveiled it at San Diego Comic-Con, if I'm not mistaken.
You're right. In Brooklyn, New York, I think.
Yeah, that's where he's from.
That's where Cap's from, or
Yeah.
that's where what's his name's from?
No, that's where Captain America's
Okay.
from
Brooklyn. Where's it, Queens?
No,
Brooklyn.
Spider-Man's from Queens.
That's right, Spider-Man's from Queens.
That's right. I remember the reference in Civil War now.
Yeah. He's got to fight with a guy from Brooklyn.
Funny, I'm from Queens.
So 7, I can see that. He's top 10.
Yeah.
6, Iron Man.
I can see that. I think that is right.
I think that's darn close.
In relevance to a top 10. Strictly speaking, from what Tony Stark is able to do, he always likes to push the envelope. He likes to push himself, and everything. And he develops quite possibly one of the most badass armors that's out there. Using nanotechnology and everything.
That's a good point, though, if I can interrupt you for a moment. What Nate was saying about Tony Stark, the way he pushes himself. Yeah. He's very much, in my mind, Iron Man. Tony Stark is very much the Bruce Wayne of Marvel.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when you said that, I thought about how Bruce Wayne is the same sort of character that pushes himself to the limits.
Yep.
In my mind, Iron Man has always been kind of like... Well, I shouldn't say always. I'm a big Iron Man fan, personally. I didn't read a whole lot of Marvel growing up, but Iron Man, I was drawn to Iron Man when I was a kid. So that was one of the few Marvel comics, if I saw it in the grocery store, Iron Man. So I did read a lot of Iron Man growing up.
Yeah, Iron Man was always my favorite.
Iron Man and Spider-Man, as far as the Marvel Universe goes for me. But he's always been... Iron Man's kind of been the Batman to me of Marvel. And then after these movies, he's definitely, in my mind, he's like the Batman of Marvel.
Right.
Moving on, number 5, Wolverine.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
My opinion is Wolverine should have been higher than 5.
Higher than 5, but at least he's in the top 5.
Yeah.
I mean,
True.
Wolverine is the shit, but not everybody agrees. Not everybody cares about Wolverine, but he's a dark character.
Number 4.
Number 4, Superman. Agree with the top 5, obviously.
Are any
one
one
of the
of
most
us
powerful characters?
Are any one of us huge? I'm not a huge Superman fan. We know Wreck-It Ralph don't care for Superman. Nate,
I like Superman. I mean,
I don't hate Superman.
I don't.
Right.
hate
I mean,
him,
I'm not.
just-
He's not one of my favorite characters, you know. But I mean,
Right.
a respect for the character for what
Right.
long list of accomplishments and powers that he possesses.
If it wasn't for Superman, there really wouldn't be any action comics. Remember those back in the 2030s?
No, yeah. I mean, you can't hate Superman too much, even if you're a Marvel guy, because Superman started everything. I mean, legit. I mean, before there was anybody, there was Superman.
Action comics number 1.
That's right. I think the real problem nowadays with Superman, Superman's going through an identity crisis.
That's the problem.
Like, and the day and age of where, although, you know, man, the thing is, like, it works for Captain America. Like, Mr. Goody Two-Shoes always does the right thing. And I think, like, DC looks at Superman like, oh, nobody wants that. Because this, Henry Cavill's Superman is a very, very dark, brooding, almost kind of out of his element.
And I think a part of that is basically what's wrong with the cinematic universe is that they have this image of Superman where they're trying to make him this Jesus character, this God character where, you know, you have certain shots where it's like people are reaching out and there's like a silhouette of Superman.
People trying to put their hands on him.
You know, and all this stuff, all this worshipping and Jesus references and everything. That's just not who Superman is. Yes, Superman is very powerful. You know, he can godlike, but he is not. He should not be interpreted as a god.
Right, I agree.
You know, it's
pretty obvious they are reaching for that Jesus-like imagery
the imagery and the symbolism and all this stuff. It's Superman should be kicking ass and like doing what he does best. I mean, for lack of a better sentence or whatever.
I agree, and I have not seen the Superman of the TV universe that they just introduced. Does anyone know the guy's name? Because I don't. I'm drawing a blank. I've heard it a few times.
What is it?
He's on Supergirl now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They introduced him season 2. Are they on season 2?
Season 2, yep.
So the beginning of season 2, which is now they moved over to the CW, and they introduced a television Superman, which, from what I've heard, the guy is good, but he's very Christopher Reeve. It's very old school Superman, and
maybe that's what we need.
And that's what I've heard good things about this guy, and I almost think, man, if DC could just look at the TV universe and go, okay, look what we're doing right, and this is what we need to do with the movies.
Tyler Hoechlin, I believe is how you say his last name.
Tyler Hoechlin.
He was in MTV show Werewolf, Teen Wolf or something.
Teen Wolf? Okay. I've seen like half an episode of Teen Wolf.
Yeah, Teen Wolf.
Till I figured out that it actually had nothing to do with the Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
And I was like, fuck this.
But no, it has nothing to do with fucking Michael J. Fox.
Right, it's on MTV. I should have known better.
Right.
But yeah, Superman number 4, I thought, that's pretty close to being accurate. I think Superman's kind of fallen off his pedestal as far as cultural relevance.
And hopefully the Justice League movie coming out will hopefully rectify the image of Superman, depending on how they bring him back.
I don't want to digress too much, but this is almost a perfect segue to bring up some Justice League talk. Because there is speculation that spoilers, Batman v Superman, Superman apparently dies, but it's very not at the hands of Batman, which is the way that all Batman fans wanted to see it go down.
Do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
But anyways, he's apparently dead as far as we know. There's been a trailer, Justice League trailer, teaser trailer. We didn't see Superman. There's a lot of talk that the storyline of Superman Lives, is that the title of the old comic?
Yeah.
Is what
in the 90s?
Yeah.
Superman Lives.
Is what
like the comic or the movie?
Well, the comic I think was
Tim
called
Burton movie?
The Tim Burton movie that never got made was
based
on a comic called Superman Lives.
And then like that comic,
or The Death of Superman.
The Death of Superman.
And then when he came back, it was Superman Lives.
And then that comic that they had out in the 90s was like, it had the plastic wrapped around the comic, and it was all black, and it looked like almost with a silver S.
I remember that,
yeah. Logo.
I don't remember. That sounds kick-ass.
Yeah, the logo was silver, and it almost looked like they were trying to make it look like a top of a coffin. Like what his coffin looked like was pretty much
that's where
plastic.
They stole that from.
Yeah, it was the plastic that was around Superman dies.
That was a little Easter egg for the comic book readers.
Yeah.
Wow, because I remember watching, and I've only seen it once, Batman v Superman, which was enough. But I remember thinking, well, that's a really badass looking coffin.
Yeah.
It caught my eye.
I'm pretty sure it was silver in the 90s.
The black with the silver S on it. I didn't read that comic, although I've heard a lot about it. And actually, the shout out to the documentary, Superman Lives. Go check it out. It is awesome.
The Death of
Superman Lives.
Yes.
It is an awesome documentary about what could have been the most kick-ass Superman movie. Who knows? I had a thought and it just left me. What was I going with? I remember on the documentary they said that comic to this day is the highest selling comic ever. Mm-hmm. The Death of Superman. But anyways, Justice League is coming, and there's a lot of talk that Superman is dead, and they're going to bring him back Superman Lives style, minus the cape, in a black suit.
That's what I hear,
where he has to slowly regain his powers back. Which is an interesting idea, but then again, it's almost like the identity crisis of Superman. Is the movie, the cinematic universe, DC cinematic universe, just keeps pushing that dark, brooding Superman that doesn't seem to be working.
Not in today's era, anyways.
Right, but from what I've seen from the teaser stuff, it does look like that they're taking a more lighter tone with this one now that the cinematic world is under the direction of Jeff Johns now, former head DC writer.
Love Jeff Johns. I've read many Jeff Johns comics. Hopefully he can save the ship.
I think he'll slowly bring Superman around, and maybe we'll start to get that Superman-Batman chemistry that's prevalent in the many animated series, plus the comics and everything.
And Jeff Johns, for people who are Green Lantern fans and want to see Green Lantern back in the cinematic universe, Jeff Johns' favorite character is Green Lantern.
Yeah,
that's promising. That there's going to be a Green Lantern eventually. It might not.
Well, they said that you can't have the Justice League without Green Lantern.
I agree.
It's impossible.
And from what I hear, there's been talk about maybe introducing him in the TV universe, whether it be because they have mentioned him on Arrow. We've seen him on Arrow. You saw a guy, and on the jacket, all you see is Jordan.
But you don't see.
The scene was that he was in Coast City. The main character, Oliver Queen, was in Coast City at a bar, and you see the scene, and then all of a sudden the camera kind of pans out, and you see a military type jacket, and it says Jordan on it. Like hey, Hal Jordan, hey, But they've made mentions to Coast City, lines like, Ferris Airfield shut down after their pilot disappeared.
You know what? I feel like they even mentioned that in Flash once. Something about the airport.
Yes, it was Flash. It was Flash. I think it was the Gallery of Rogues, the Rogues Gallery episode.
I gotta watch these shows, dude. You guys are all talking.
They went to Ferris Airfield, which was abandoned.
I love the Flash. I really love
Flash.
Is
awesome.
Yeah, the TV show, dude. It's awesome. They don't miss a beat. They do everything right on that show.
DC in the TV universe is doing what Marvel is doing in the movie universe. They're just knocking it dead.
I've yet to see Legends of Tomorrow, and do you watch Legends of Tomorrow?
Yep.
You're the only one here that knows. Go ahead. I've heard great things about it. Like season 1, I heard it was pretty good, but season 2 I've heard so far is.
I haven't gotten into season 2 yet. I'm almost done with season 1. I've got them all on DVR. They were all recorded. I just haven't watched them yet. But from what I've heard, before the season 2 started, was that they were going to introduce the Legion of Doom.
I heard this too.
So
for people that don't know what Legends of Tomorrow is,
the basic premise is the character Rip Hunter. He's from the future. He's a former Time Master. He comes to, I believe it's 2015, 2016, something like that, to recruit these heroes and villains to save his future from this immortal tyrant named Vandal Savage.
Vandal Savage?
Vandal Savage.
That is a savage-ass name. Vandal Savage.
Randy
Who...
Savage.
I'm going to take over the world, brother.
Coffee and cream.
Coffee and cream. And so he... apparently he was a priest in ancient Egypt who betrayed the queen and everything and tried to kill them during this meteor storm. And they get killed, and the queen asks for, to resurrect us so that we can get our revenge and everything. And so the queen and her husband and Vandal Savage, all of them became immortal. So, and the queen and the husband end up becoming Hawkgirl and Hawkman.
Yes.
And then there's this vicious cycle throughout 4,000 plus years of Vandal Savage kills Hawkman and Hawkgirl, absorbs their essence, maintains his immortality. They get reborn. They find their way back to each other. Blah blah blah. The cycle just continues and continues and continues. Well, Rip Hunter comes back and he gets Hawkgirl and Hawkman, the Atom, Firestorm.
The Atom is in?
Atom.
Yeah, the Atom.
Oh. Isn't that like
I love
DC's
the Atom.
version of Ant-Man?
Yes.
Basically, yeah.
I don't know which came first, but yeah, they're almost the same character.
Actually, they pretty much are, because in one of the episodes, he grows himself to gigantic proportions in order to fight this machine called the Leviathan.
Wow.
And
I got it. When does this show come on?
It's on Thursday nights on the CW.
Thursday nights.
8 o'clock, I want to say.
What's it called again?
Legends of Tomorrow. And if you get the CW, Monday is Supergirl, Tuesday's The Flash, Wednesday's Green Arrow or Arrow,
Monday comes on at 8 o'clock. Does it come on at 8? Does it come on with Gotham, against Gotham?
Ooh, it's a good question. I think Supergirl does.
No wonder I haven't seen it.
So it's like this,
I've been watching Gotham.
picture
That's what I
posing.
hate about Superman. He's always got to, even the girls, fuck up Batman's life.
God damn it!
You Supergirl.
So yes, very good episodes, very good shows. They're must-watch TV.
Well, good news for you if you're that into it, because season 2, I heard it was like even way better than season 1.
Oh yeah, I've unless they prove wrong, I'm always expecting great things from.
But
DC
yeah,
TV.
Ralph, you should watch the CW, the DC on CW. Is fantastic.
Yeah,
it really is.
I've seen some stuff, but
I love the Flash. What they're doing with the Flash is like every week it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll move forward. Number 3, go ahead, Nate.
Number 3, Batman.
Batman, of course.
Ralph,
Yes.
your opinion.
Yeah, top 5, but should have been 1. My
You think Batman number 1?
Batman
And why do you
number
think
one.
Batman number 1?
Because Batman is fucking the shit. That's all I gotta say.
All
Batman-
science out the
All
window.
All
science
science
just-
out the window.
He's Batman. That's it.
I mean,
As far as of cultural relevance, he's number 1
yeah.
in this day and age.
yeah,
Batman
based
is-
strictly on cultural. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see
He's
that.
just so, I don't know if it's the backstory I love about Batman or if it's so dark and gritty like Gotham. the
If
city,
we're
and
going to talk about why we love Batman.
I don't know if it's because of the different characters that's played him, minus George Clooney and Val Kilmer, but those guys killed it.
Those aren't Batman.
Killed it for me.
Imposters.
But I don't know if it's, I don't know, it's just something about Batman. Even when I was a kid watching the animated series.
Right
that was
on,
just-
right on.
The
One of the best
yeah.
animated series.
The animated series kept it to the 89 Batman and the 90 Batman, where it was like that era almost.
Speaking of Batman, there's been talk. Mark Hamill has been on Flash. He might be
as the trickster.
as the trickster, and he might have been on one of the new seasons of Legends of Tomorrow. I can't confirm that yet, but there has been talk about him reprising his role as the Joker
That'd be cool.
on the TV.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm like, wow.
Like cartoon?
No.
And like on like The Flash or
Wow.
or something. One of the shows.
You heard it here first, folks.
That would be fucking awesome.
They're talking
Amazing.
about it.
I have not heard that.
That would be
wow.
absolutely awesome.
You know what they should do? What was that movie that they did when Batman came out of retirement?
Bat Brain?
I love what he calls him. Bat Brain or Batsy?
Batsy.
Batsy. Yeah. The Dark Knight Returns.
The Dark Knight Returns. They should make a movie about that and have Michael Keaton play as the Dark Knight Returns.
Oh, the old
nice.
Bring him
Batman.
back.
Yeah.
That would be sweet.
Yeah, you're right. Good call.
I mean, he's
Well,
already older than...
the premise of Batman v Superman was very much kind of indirectly tied into The Dark Knight Returns.
True, yeah.
There were a lot of elements like the suit and such. The new logo and everything was based on that specific comic. But my favorite comic of all time, The Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. You're right, man. I never really thought about
Yeah,
that.
that's-
I mean, you might have to give him a big suit so he looks. I mean, Michael
Well,
Keaton.
no,
Yeah, Michael
but-
Keaton's still pretty skinny, lanky
If
guy.
J.K. Simmons can look ripped as hell playing Commissioner Gordon, then
True.
I'm sure
True.
that Michael Keaton can do the same thing.
Yeah, but Dark Knight Returns, wasn't he like a little bit bigger than what he used to be? Like,
Oh, he was a
not-
lot bigger.
Yeah.
he was a lot bigger. I mean,
Yeah.
just like
muscle wise and like kind of like heavier.
yeah.
Or was it just like?
He was still. I mean, very very muscular, but still kind of like you could tell he was in his 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that would be cool to have like Michael Keaton come back and play him just for one movie.
My head's still kind of spinning about the idea of Mark Hamill actually
Yes, that is.
actually doing the Joker
Yeah,
live action. Man.
if that is true and he actually does do that, then
Pay that dude whatever
is-
you have to.
Yes.
To put him in some clown makeup.
That will be must-see TV
Yeah.
right
Put
there.
him in with that Dark Knight Returns movie. Michael Keaton.
That could
Facing
be good too.
Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet.
Childhood
The
orgasm
Joker.
right there.
Right. Joker comes back somehow and it's fucking Luke Skywalker.
Well, part of the beauty right now of what's going on with culture is that all of us here at the table are not in our 20s. I'm not going to say how old we are.
Unfortunately.
We're in our 30s. And what's really interesting is it seems like everything I grew up on is really hot right now.
Yeah.
I mean, everything. Everything I watched growing up as a kid is trending right now.
Yeah, the new Power Rangers movie coming out.
Right. Power Rangers are coming back,
Power
and it
Rangers
actually
are coming
looks
back.
decent. I have not seen the teaser trailer, but I have seen some still shots and whatnot. There's a teaser trailer out if no one's seen it. I'm not a huge Power Rangers fan, but to see them actually kind of take the cheesy style away from it.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see the first real trailer for it, not the teaser trailer,
right.
because the teaser trailer, in my opinion, looks like a souped-up version of The Breakfast
The
Club.
Breakfast
you have
Club.
seen it?
I have seen it. And it looks like The Breakfast Club.
Really?
Like, down to detention on a Saturday.
Really?
And they're all in,
The
like,
psycho girl who cuts her hair.
Yeah. And, like, the guy with, these problems with his dad or something.
Well, I
It's
like The Breakfast Club. This is intriguing to me. You're actually pulling me in. Now I'm
Yeah,
gonna
the
go-
Breakfast Club is the Power Rangers pretty much just like the Breakfast Club.
According to
Or
this
Power
teaser
Rangers.
trailer. Now, we're wait to see when they actually do release the first actual official trailer for it, what it looks like. Because we still don't know. We know that Elizabeth Banks is playing Rita.
Mm-hmm.
A green, sexy Rita. And I'm waiting to see what her interpretation of Rita is going to be in this movie.
Yeah,
You know.
it looks different. It looks way different.
But yeah, a lot of the stuff that we grew up on is making
Well,
is
because
being resurrected.
all the people that grew up
Because we have kids now.
that, and plus the people that are making these movies are our age or a little
Well,
bit
true,
older that
good
love
point.
the shit and keep them
And they're
alive.
going, hey, you know what I loved back in the day?
Like, you know what would be cool?
Yeah.
Having a Power Ranger movie that wasn't cheesy or, you know.
So anyways, before we get too far off track, we'll finish up the list here. I was gonna go on about why I love Batman, but that will take a while. That's for another time.
Well, that's okay, because I'm sure Batman's got to be on somebody's list, and I'm sure we'll talk about it some more.
I'm sure he is on someone's list.
Right, so number 2, we come to Spider-Man.
And I really had problems with this one. These other guys were like, yeah, I could see that. I'm like, no, hell no.
Let me tell you why.
You get them.
And I don't remember exactly what my argument was. I will say this. I think, again, just like Black Panther, the popularity of Spidey in Civil War has a lot to do with why he's number 2. But I'm not going to bitch too much because we're not at 1 yet. You wait till we get to 1.
Yeah, I don't know, because I
Go
think
ahead, Rob.
Spider-Man was just everybody. I mean, even before the Civil War, kids were still dressing up as him for Halloween.
Yeah, I could see,
And, I mean, they had the other...
based purely on the cultural,
Yeah.
he's one of the popular characters among
And
kids.
they had the Amazing
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man and...
Right, the cartoon and...
So Spider-Man never really went away. I mean, they had the Tobey Maguire movies, which were okay. Then they had a couple, 10 years later or whatever, they came out with Spider-Man.
I got to pick a little beef with you about this.
What?
As Spider-Man 2, they've been playing it at work.
Yeah.
And every time...
I try not to look.
No, man, you're wrong. You're so wrong. It's a good movie.
I didn't say nothing bad about it.
Every time I walk over to the field desk and I see Spider-Man 2 is on lately, I would start watching it, and I'm thinking to myself, Ralph's fucking wrong. This is a good movie. This is a good movie.
I like Spider-Man itself, but the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, maybe it was just the Peter Parker I didn't like.
I was watching. Go ahead.
But I like Spider-Man. I do like Spider-Man. He's cool. He's a
sure.
He's a good hero.
He's the Batman / Superman of Marvel.
Yeah,
he is.
He's great, but I just didn't like Peter Parker. Like the whole whiny bullshit.
The character Peter Parker.
Yeah, of Tobey Maguire. I think that's what ruined it, really.
Yeah.
And hopefully this new kid that they got playing him, hopefully he can kind of break me out of my spell.
Yeah, and
Spider-Man.
Yeah, and they say that the top categories for Spider-Man at number 2 was bankability, which I could see.
Sure, you're making money.
I mean, you're making a lot of dough off of that. Nemesis.
It's got awesome villains.
Oh yeah, a lot of awesome villains
for Marvel.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm the only one that thinks this. DC's villains, I think, are way better than Marvel's villains.
Yeah.
But
I agree. I mean,
maybe with the exception of X-Men.
You take out Batman's villains, what do you got?
But Batman's got a lot of great villains.
Yeah.
A lot of great.
I'd say if there was one character that you could take out from the DC universe and put into one villain from the DC universe into the Marvel universe to fight Spider-Man, who would you want?
I don't know. I gotta think about
I'll
that.
take the Joker.
You say because I was kind of thinking the Joker too, but Spider-Man has had somebody like that in the Green Goblin.
I don't think
he's not as sadistic as the Joker, but I mean he's got almost that mindset.
Yeah, there's a little bit of Joker, to the Green Goblin. See, I think the Joker would mop him up because Spider-Man's not, in my opinion, I don't think of Spider-Man as an intellectual.
Yeah.
I don't think of Spider-Man as, I'm not saying he's
even
dumb.
Though he's very scientific. In all of his iterations, he's very smart.
He does know
whether it's developing his own web shooters or his web fluid or all these other gadgets that he uses. I mean, he's very smart. So
I just think I don't know how to say it. Maybe I don't know. I just think the Joker would outwit him. I just think the Joker would be one step ahead.
The Joker does have that ability.
Age too, like Joker's much older, obviously.
Wisdom.
Spider-Man.
The Joker understands the chaos, of disorder of life, and I don't know. I think like Batman has a hard time.
Well, depending on what Joker you're going with.
True.
If you're going with the Heath Ledger Joker, or the Suicide Squad Joker, or Jack Nicholson Joker.
I'd say Mark Hamill's Joker.
Mark Hamill Joker.
Brought into it'd be nice to see him actually do the Joker in real life. But I think Mark Hamill's Joker is the most iconic Joker.
I've always said he's my favorite Joker. And there's a lot of good Jokers. There is. I mean, if you take a villain like that and go, damn, there was, back in the heyday, there was Jack Nicholson, and everybody said, wow, nobody's ever going to do it better than that. You can even go back to Cesar Romero.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he was a great Joker.
He was good.
Really, the villains were so much better on that show, on the old Batman, than actual Batman and Robin. The villains were pretty good.
I think that they did the Jack Nicholson Joker based off of the 1960s Joker.
He was more Cesar Romero.
They look a lot alike. Their suits are the same. Their laugh, I don't know.
Yeah, but I think if any villain you take from DC and you put them up against Spider-Man, eventually Spider-Man will figure out how to beat them because... let's say Killer Croc. Well, Spider-Man has fought the Lizard and Rhino. Powerhouses. That he would eventually overcome.
Fucking throw Dr. Manhattan.
It's all over.
It's all over.
Dr. Manhattan.
Screw you, Spider-Man. Just gonna wipe you out.
Squish you like a spider.
Nate Dogg doesn't really reveal his allegiances too much, but the more I hear him talk about Spider-Man, I think Nate likes Spider-Man quite a bit.
Well, see, I'm looking at it as of course I've watched a lot of Spider-Man and everything, but everything that's thrown against Spider-Man, from from Doc Ock to Rhino to Mysterio, to all these other villains. Yeah, and, it would be interesting to see Sinestro against Spider-Man. If you bring the Lanterns into this,
love Sinestro.
Atrocitus and Larfleeze, some of these other evil Lantern Corps in here.
Doomsday.
How Spider-Man would counter that would be very interesting.
I agree.
What's that guy that kills Superman? Doomsday?
Doomsday. Yeah, Doomsday. That'd be very...
Doomsday.
Yeah. Again, but Doomsday's another powerhouse. But see, Doomsday can't die, though.
Right, Doomsday's...
So I think in that respect, Spider-Man would have to get help. And I think that's also where one of his strengths is, too. Whether it's the Avengers or S.H.I.E.L.D.
Spider-Man plays well. Spider-Man plays well with others.
Yeah.
He fits into a group really well. Even in personally, going back to the Avengers that I read growing up, it was when I was reading it was always Spider-Man and Iron Man. Yeah. I think there's something to be said for he plays well with others.
Yeah, I always thought of Spider-Man more in the Avengers than Hawkeye, really.
I'll say one more thing about Spider-Man. Personally, I have this love-hate relationship.
Yeah, that's how I don't hate
I do. I have mad respect for Spider-Man, and he's he's really actually one of my favorite Marvel characters. He actually is. But there's also I have some issues with Spider-Man. One thing, I know I don't tell people this, but it's always in my head, so I'm going to say it now on a podcast so everybody hears it. That going back to the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, when the first Spider-Man movie came out, and I enjoyed it. I went to the theater, I watched it, and saw it with my son. At that same summer was...
2003?
Mm-hmm.
What year was that?
I think it was 2003.
5?
For the first...
The first one, I was working at
Spider-Man?
the theaters in high school.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, I remember, because that's probably why
Maybe
I
I
hate
didn't
Spider-Man.
see it with my son then, because he was born that year.
Yeah, 2003, I think it was.
I do remember going to the theater and watching it.
Because that's when they had that...
How'd you lose a theater job, dude? You quit?
No, my parents made me quit because I was failing in school or some
That's
shit.
why you hate your parents. It all makes sense now.
No, I loved working at the theater.
I
dude.
bet, man. That's a job I want now.
I think it might have been 2002, Nate, or 2001 when Spider-Man came out, the first one.
We're looking into
really
it.
that?
I think it was 2002, because 2003 is the year when they had Daredevil and the Hulk in
Are you
theaters.
serious? 15 years
2002.
ago? Oh, my word. I'm old.
Oh, my God.
I've been working, yeah.
2002.
But that same summer was the summer of Attack of the Clones.
Ooh.
And I remember that they were box office rivals.
Yeah.
I believe Attack of the Clones came out in May and blew up the box office and made hundreds of millions. And then I believe Spider-Man came out in June or July and broke the records that Attack of the Clones had just set. And I remember being really upset about that.
I thought Spider-Man came out in wintertime, or right around the wintertime.
No, it was definitely summer.
Spider-Man came out May 3rd.
Oh, so Spider-Man came out before Star Wars.
Yeah, that makes...
Star Wars probably was May 20-something that same year.
Okay, yeah. I'm just trying to get dates right in my head.
So those two movies just mopped up that year, that summer. I remember those were the only two movies that anybody really went and saw that summer. And it ended up being... Spider-Man made more money than Star Wars did, and I never got over that.
I like the theme song to Spider-Man, or the main song that they played on top of the rooftop. The music video, what is it?
Oh.
Who sings it? Oh my God.
Nickelback.
It's the guy from Nickelback, but it's somebody else with
Oh,
him.
I freaking, oh my God.
Hero, isn't
Hero, yeah, there goes my
Something-
hero, or something like that.
Something
or
about Hero.
Hero.
Yeah, that summer that song was
That
on
song
the
was
radio.
awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good song. I mean, yeah, that first movie was pretty good, I guess.
Dude,
thinking
I'm
about
telling you,
it.
number 2 was better than number
Maybe
1.
I gotta go back and just rewatch
2
it
was
with
Doc
an open
Ock,
mind.
right?
2?
Yes.
Yes. First
Because
one
the
was
first
Green
one was
Goblin.
Goblin. 2 was Doc Ock. And then the atrocious third one
Yeah.
was Venom,
Venom.
Sandman, and New Goblin.
Right.
Fuck you, James Franco.
I'm telling you, man, I was in line at work, and the scene where Doc Ock is being operated on, and the arms come out, and just there's it's a 5-minute scene of Doc Ock just dismantling the doctors and the nurses. Dude, that's a great scene. Yeah. It really is, especially 15 years old. I'm sitting there watching it going, Ralph is so wrong about this movie.
You're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
So Attack of the Clones came out May 16th.
So it's 2 weeks apart.
So 2 weeks apart.
Yeah. They were rivals that summer. And Spider-Man got all the awards, and I never got over it. Even though, but here's hindsight. I'm older now, and I can look back and go, yeah, Attack of the Clones is my least favorite Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Me personally. And Spider-Man, the first one, was pretty kick-ass. So
the first Spider-Man.
So I need to get over it. And number one on the list
brings us to number one.
Suicide Tendency.
Brace yourself, people.
The whole reason why we're doing this episode right now. Number one, according to Entertainment Weekly, Wonder Woman.
Wah, 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 wah. So if you had any doubts about whether or not women rule the universe, now you know.
Wonder Woman.
And
bullshit.
I call bullshit. That's bullshit.
That's junk, bro. You know
I've been working here 13 years.
13 years of Wonder Woman number one is bullshit.
So top categories, cultural impact. I can see that. Not number one, but I could see the cultural impact because if I could be mistaken about this, the first female superhero to be televised.
I think so. I think she was actually the first female superhero. Period. I think her comic, I believe, was the first female superhero.
What about Barbara Gordon? Was she in yeah, that's right, Batman.
Yeah. Bringing it back to Batman.
That's a good question. If anybody knows, leave a comment. We're not sure.
Modern relevance and originality.
Well, feminism is big right now, people.
This just proves to you that Hillary Clinton
will be our next president. Because Wonder Woman was number one.
Yeah. Trying to see.
Remember that, folks. When Hillary gets in office, we called it first.
Yep.
Because Wonder Woman was number one.
Yeah. Well, we're all in fucking camps in a couple months.
Yeah.
I told you.
Remember that when you're behind
barbed
wire fence in your FEMA camp.
Yeah. So gentlemen, why is this such a horrible choice for number one?
Well, I'm starting a petition right now online for Rey to be number one instead of Wonder Woman.
I could deal with Rey.
No, I'm just kidding. But go ahead, somebody start that petition.
Would you pick Spider-Man? Would you pick Star Wars for that? Superheroes?
We discussed that today.
Could you do that?
I thought about it.
Let's see, it says 50 most powerful superheroes. So it's not 50 most powerful DC and Marvel superheroes.
Right,
I mean, this is just superheroes in general. So, I mean, you could pick Luke Skywalker. You could pick Yoda.
And the crazy theme of this list, it goes on. It's the top 50, and there's plenty of other. Crazy
it's all like DC and Marvel.
Like we mentioned before, Buffy is on here. Raphael, the Ninja Turtles is 21.
The Ninja Turtles made the list. Really?
Yeah.
Well, if Ninja Turtles made it, then fucking Star Wars.
But Raphael, of all of the turtles, is the only turtle representative.
Yeah.
So Raphael, I mean,
he's kind of my favorite turtle.
You know, awesome. I mean,
he's like the unspoken leader of the turtles.
No, Leonardo is.
Leonardo is? Okay, I don't know my turtles really. I mean, but yeah. So I mean, we talked about that today. Like, should Jedi be included into this list? Probably.
I would think so.
I
left them off of my list. I just kind of stuck with strictly superheroes, but especially in this day and age of Star Wars making its grand return, I think Jedi are superheroes, and they fall into that category.
I would say so. Yeah,
right. They're technically there's a cowl, and a cape.
They help save the innocent.
Why Wonder Woman does not deserve to be number one, though?
Now, Wonder Woman deserves to be in the top 5.
Yeah, I think Wonder Woman. ladies.
Not number one.
Hey, ladies.
Ladies.
I'm not hating on women too much. That's some other podcast, some other time.
That was a keyword, too much.
No, I think she definitely belongs in the top 10. And I'm going to tell you, she's on my list, top 10. But number one is just bullshit, man. It's following this trend right now. That it's trendy. There's a lot of women superheroes that are making appearances in movies.
Yeah, and if Wonder Woman wasn't number one, there would be a lot of women out there bitching about it, and all this stuff. All this male dominated all this shit.
I think there's a certain level of
Donald
appeasement.
Trump,
Donald Trump opened up this list and said, "Bullshit."
She does got some big.
That's probably what he would.
Right.
Well, number one for her certain assets, but
certain assets.
I mean, she's a great character. She really is, and I think representing women, she's like the superhero for women. By the end of episode 9, Ray might have something to say about that. We'll see. Mm-hmm. But why she doesn't deserve to be number one? Because Superman and Batman have affected culture far more than Wonder Woman has. That's the first thing in my mind was that's what I thought was if cultural relevance, which she is very relevant in culture, but Batman and Superman have even Spider-Man have defined comic book heroes, superheroes for the past 60, 70 years. Although we took the time today when I was adding her to my list. Nate Dogg and I took the time to look up her superpowers, and she's got a lot of superpowers, man. She really does.
She's almost like Superman, isn't she? Like in a way.
But here's what blew my mind when we were looking up her powers. She flies an invisible jet. I don't know if everybody knows that because some people only know her from the new movie that just came out, Batman v Superman. But yes, she owns an invisible jet.
Yeah, I remember that.
And one of her superpowers is flight. So she can fly, but she took the time to build an invisible jet. And I don't understand that shit at all.
Yeah, that
confused me, but
like,
fellas, tell me why she doesn't deserve to be number one.
I don't know why you say she doesn't deserve it. She's a woman. I think that was great. Good job, weekly entertainment.
This is exactly what happens at work, too, by the way. I speak the truth, and Ralph goes, I don't know, Lisa's pretty good. I mean, my boss is pretty cool.
No, Wonder Woman does not need to be number one. Basically, you're going to go off of Wonder Woman, but she's really had, this is big, movies. You need to have movies so we know what we're voting for.
Agreed.
So we need to know the powers. I don't know if she's number one because of Superman versus Batman, but she had a split role in there for like 10 minutes when they were fighting Doomsday, but I don't know.
She did have a pretty important role in that movie.
She did save Batman's life with the shield.
Right.
So for that, she could be like number 15 or something. But not number one. I just think that there's, even if you don't pick Batman or Superman, there's other superheroes out there that deserve to be number one.
Or more deserving of number one, exactly. It's.
She's top 10, but not number one.
No.
Agreed. And on that note,
after that long explanation, so now we'll get into our list of what we think should be our own personal top 10s.
Our more proper list.
I'm a proper list.
So, I'll get into my list, I guess.
Yeah, so we'll start with number 10, like we did with this one.
Okay, so I made it to 9, and I was really stumped, and I was on my lunch break, so I said, alright, I'm going to put a question mark down here, and when the podcast is rolling, I will throw my number 10 out there. And I think when I was looking at this list, Green Lantern or Hulk?
Hulk's not even on your list?
No. I know.
Wow.
I know. Yeah. I'm going to go with Hulk. I love the Green Lantern. He's actually one of my favorite superheroes. But cultural relevance. On my list, I said, Nate and I were talking about this a little bit. I said, I didn't really agree with the categories that Entertainment Weekly had thrown out there. Or at least the way they dispersed the points in those categories. So I just said, my list is based on 50% actual superpowers, 50% cultural influence is what the list that I'm throwing out there is based upon. And so I'm going to throw number 10. I'm going to throw in the Hulk. Again, like Ralph was saying, I think you got to make an impact in the movies, or at least television. And although Green Lantern is a huge DC character, has great superpowers, and he's one of my personal favorites, he didn't leave a very good impact upon the world, upon the culture with the movie that they made. Even though I didn't think it was that bad of a movie.
I didn't think it was that bad either.
I think it gets crapped on, and it really shouldn't get crapped on the way it does.
What movie's that?
The Green Lantern
Oh,
movie.
Green Lantern?
Right,
yeah. I don't know. It wasn't that bad of a movie, honestly.
It wasn't a great superhero movie, but it's not as bad as people just shit on that movie. They really do to this day. So, number 10, Hulk. Number 9, The Flash. And I almost put Flash higher up because I think his relevance, what's going on in the DC television universe, they're doing amazing things with the Flash right now. And he's a part of the Justice League. We're about to see him in the Justice League movie that's coming out next year, right, fellas? Next year, I think.
Yeah, 17.
Number 8, I had Jean Grey.
Ooh.
Which
Jean Grey are we talking about?
Okay, so I knew this was going to come up.
I
knew this was going to come up because I have not seen Apocalypse.
You probably would like the Jean Grey in the Apocalypse.
I like Jean Grey, one of my favorite. I love the X-Men. Again, I always say on this podcast I'm not really a Marvel guy, but X-Men is Marvel. X-Men is something I used to read growing up. I love the X-Men. Maybe not the most knowledgeable guy about details of the X-Men, but I do love the X-Men, and Jean Grey was always one of my faves. And in the newer movies, they really played her powers up. I think.
My only complaint about that is that they always depicted her, the Phoenix Force, as a split personality.
Yeah,
and that bothers the hell out of me.
Yeah.
The Phoenix Force is a cosmic entity that that came to Earth, sensed her, and inhabited her body. It's not a split personality, you know. So even in Apocalypse, they're portraying it as a split personality, and that's just not what the Phoenix Force is.
No.
Alters are popular right now. Very trending to have a split personality.
Split personality, right?
Yeah.
If you're gonna do it, now's the time.
Now's the time to come out.
Moving on, number 7, Professor X. Staying with the X-Men theme here.
That's a good one.
And Professor X has definitely impacted culture. He's got great powers. He could have been higher on my list.
Look at all the people that are on wheelchairs.
Right. I mean, he's got to be number 1 to the handicap.
For the handicap.
Right.
You're welcome.
Number 6, Spidey. And a lot of Marvel people that are listening going, number 6, but I think my list is decent, so I'm going to move forward.
Now, Spider-Man over Professor X.
Well, you guys are going to love my list. Number 6 is Spidey.
Why so?
Right, yeah. Why would you put Spider-Man over Professor X?
Cultural relevance.
But just based strictly on cultural relevance.
Well, yeah, I don't think... if you throw Spider-Man versus Professor X, I think Professor X is going to mop him up.
Yeah, just by reading his mind.
Okay, yeah.
Shit.
Well, okay, well, right. I was that's the reason why I'm asking, based on cultural relevance and on why you're making out this list.
Yeah.
Because, based on combat abilities, obviously, Professor X could wipe the floor with
Right.
a large chunk.
Right, and had I gone by the power,
Just strictly on powers.
yeah, definitely, it would have been different.
Right.
Or had I even used their list or their categories from Entertainment Weekly, I think it would have been different. But again, basing my list, 50% powers, 50% cultural relevance.
Okay.
Spider-Man is the man for Marvel. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can look at Marvel and say the movies, just the movies. We got 3 Spider-Men now in the matter of less than 20 years. And
right.
And people are more psyched than ever about the new Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So I mean, this day and age loves Spider-Man. So I mean that played a factor in my mind of choosing him over Professor X.
I mean, with Halloween coming up, you're going to see a lot.
You're going to see a lot of Spider-Man. Yeah.
Kids. Even before, like when we were in that slump between Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and this, what is that one that came out?
Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, Andrew Garfield. There's still, even in between that, there are still a bunch of kids dressing up as Spider-Man and growing up at Comic-Con as Spider-Man, and just Spider-Man's always been Spider-Man.
Yeah,
dude.
agreed. I mean, you could even look at, in comparison with the DC universe, when those imposters put on the bat suit in the 90s, nobody wanted to be Batman for a while. You know, after George Clooney, after Val Kilmer, Batman was uncool for a while.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, Spider-Man's cultural relevance is big. Number 5 is gonna shock a few people, I think. Batman. At number 5.
Wow.
What? Ralph, put the table down.
What? This is all we talk about at work. Is Batman.
I am a huge Batman fan.
I am very interested to see what the top 4 is now.
Okay.
I don't even give a shit.
Ralph's like, you don't even matter anymore.
You were my brother.
You're my brother.
Yeah, this is. I knew this would cause a little anarchy.
No, it's fine.
No, this is
your own opinion.
And it was not easy for me because I went through the list 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, this really wasn't that easy.
I've already crossed off half my shit just by being here and thinking of other.
Yeah.
You know.
I promise you folks, I am a huge Batman fan. I have many Batman t-shirts in my wardrobe. But I thought about, okay, if my list is 50% powers, 50% cultural relevance, Batman is number 1 culturally, I believe. Mm-hmm. Powers, he doesn't really have powers. Zilch. 0. I mean, you can go to martial arts skills, you can go to detective skills, but those are not superpowers. They're powers, they're not supernatural powers.
Fair enough.
So, I mean, it's kind of like, I looked at it mathematically or scientifically in a way like, okay, he's the cream of the crop culturally, but as far as superpowers, he's not really got any. But that's part of why I love Batman.
Yeah.
And we're an hour into the podcast already. I'll say something about Batman just to rectify my number 5 choice. I know. Future podcasts, I'll go on and on about Batman in the future, but part of the reason I love Batman and why I'm drawn, and I love Batman, I really do. Part of the reason I love Batman is because he doesn't have superpowers. Mm-hmm. Because Batman is the underdog, the anti-hero.
And Batman is... You see Batman, and it's almost an achievable goal.
Yeah.
If you have the money and if you have the resources, that is something that you could actually attain.
Right. If I had the means
in real life.
Yeah.
But even with him having no superpowers, he still managed to keep up with Superman and Wonder Woman in the fight against Doomsday.
Right.
He still almost killed Superman, even without powers.
Well, let's be honest. The billions of dollars helps.
Well, yeah.
That helps.
the average Joe that works at a travel center couldn't be Batman.
Steve is Batman.
Well, that killed my dream.
Pop. There goes.
But the billions of dollars can only go so far.
True.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
It's a combination of financial abilities, and then your actual in-field abilities.
Mm-hmm.
You can have all the high-tech batarangs you want, but if they're bouncing off Doomsday like nothing, then you have to come up with something.
Right. And the word escapes me, but Batman adaptable isn't the word I was looking for, but that fits accurately. Batman is very adaptable,
flexible
to every situation. The word I'm looking for is he's a strategist.
Mm-hmm.
He's a strategist.
Yeah.
There's no matter any situation, Batman walks into a room and a strategy begins to form.
Yeah.
In his mind. I respect the hell out of that. I don't. That's something that, as a father, I try to teach my children to be aware. I guess this is, again, like, we can tie this into Jedi and why I love the Jedi Order so much. The amount of awareness in Batman. So, I mean, I can go on and on about why I love Batman, but part of the reason Batman is number 5 is also part of the reason why I love Batman more than any other superhero. I look at Batman in my brain. Batman is in his own category.
Yeah.
In my brain, he's in his own category, and then everybody else falls in some sort of category. I'm being very biased. I'm being very honest. To me, Batman is a standalone comic book hero. He goes about things differently than any other comic book hero.
He thinks 15 steps ahead.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to, joining the Justice League, and he's coming up with battle emergency plans for in case Superman or Wonder Woman or Flash ever turns evil. He's got a contingency plan in place to take them down.
Yes, that's brilliant. There's a giant smile on my face right now. You can't see it, but yes, Batman always has a contingency plan. Mm-hmm. Batman trusts no one.
Nope.
I mean, not even Robin. Here's a guy that is adaptable enough to take on a partner and but that's right. Like every good tradesman, I won't show you everything.
Yeah, well, there's some stuff you got to learn on your own.
That's right. Like
That's
every good
too.
father,
Mm-hmm.
there's some things you have to just.
You can teach as much as you can, but
I'm telling you, I could take up an entire podcast about Batman, and I know Ralph could too, and I think Nate could hold his own in that argument too.
I think so too.
So we'll just move on. Number 4, Iron Man. I am an Iron Man fan. He's probably my favorite Marvel character, standalone Marvel character. I think he's number 4. He's above Batman. Everyone above Batman now. What above Batman? But I think the movies, what he has done in the Marvel universe. I think.
Would you say Iron Man? Yeah.
Number 4.
I think you cannot short Tony Stark.
No, Iron Man is pretty much. I mean, I'm right behind you on that.
Yeah, I mean, Robert Downey Jr. almost single-handedly built the Marvel Universe.
That's the problem with DC, is that they kept Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man for all these movies, but they couldn't even keep one Batman beside, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, nobody else can play Iron Man. Nobody can.
No, I agree.
Batman, it's just like, whoever wants to be in.
Right.
Right. And for such a big character, Batman, you would think they would have one person just playing Batman.
I think it's interesting in our lifetime. Robert Downey Jr. is going to retire as Iron Man in our lifetime, and what they do after that, what they do with that character, Iron Man, is really interesting to me. Do they just straight kill him?
I think they'll have to.
Do they say never again? We're going to retire his jersey.
Well, I think the head of Marvel, I want to say Kevin Feige. Yeah, I think he said he was asked about the future of Robert Downey Jr. and I believe he said that if Robert Downey Jr. ever decides to walk away completely, is that they're